Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Devin Bartolotta. Tonight, new details about the case against Mahmoud Khalil. The Columbia graduate student was picked up by ICE because of his participation in protests related to the Israel-Hamas war. Today, we know what evidence the government is using to keep him locked up. Charisse Gibson joins us with more from the new documents submitted in court today.
The Trump administration sent a two-page memo signed off by Secretary of State Marco Rubio explaining why it says Mahmoud Khalil should be deported. The memo says Khalil, who is a legal permanent resident of the U.S., should be expelled from the country due to his participation in anti-Semitic protest and disruptive activities, which foster a hostile environment for Jewish students in the United States. Rubio goes on to say the continued presence of Khalil in the U.S. undermines this country's policy to combat anti-Semitism around the world. That echoes statements Rubio has made for weeks.
We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed them in the first place.
But attorneys for Khalil said they believe the government's two-page document doesn't show that their client is any kind of threat.
2 pages, that's it. And in that, Secretary of State Rubio says that Mahmoud's presence here would create adverse foreign policy interests. But what does he talk about? He talks about First Amendment activity in the United States and the effect on people in the United States. His determination, quote unquote, has absolutely nothing to do with foreign policy.
Khalil rose to prominence as a spokesperson during the pro-Palestinian human rights protest and occupation on Columbia University's campus. He was taken into custody by ICE on March 8th and transferred to an ICE facility in Jena, Louisiana. The federal government says Khalil's pro-Palestinian beliefs align with activities of Hamas, a designated terrorist organization.
And if you tell us when you apply for a visa, I'm coming to the U.S. to participate in pro-Hamas events, that runs counter to the foreign policy interests of the United States of America. It's that simple. So you lied. You came. If you had told us that you were going to do that, we never would have given you the visa.
But the memo produced by Rubio doesn't provide evidence that links Khalil to Hamas, and his family has also denied that he's connected to the terrorist organization.
This administration wants to silence Mahmoud, wants to silence people speaking out against the government of Israel or government of United States.
Since Khalil's arrest, there have been a spat of detainments of international students who have been connected to criticism of Israel and the Trump administration. And most recently, DHS announced its plans to screen social media activity of non-citizens for acts of anti-Semitism as grounds for denying immigration benefit requests. Khalil will be back in court in Jena, Louisiana on Friday, where Judge Jamie Comins will determine if the DHS memo is enough to prove that Mahmoud Khalil can be removed from the country. Back to you.